What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Apocalypse Movies and the Fandalorian Club, as we are here to talk Bad Batch, as we are counting down until we are finito with this season 1 of this series, as we are on episode 15, titled "Return to Kamino." The moment we've all been wondering if we were going to get, and we finally got it, and we have a really, really good episode to talk about today. And as usual, but back after a week stint away, Mr. Gio Ramos, what's up, man?
Hello, guys. Man, talk about pulling on the heartstrings this episode.
Right?
Man. This one was a rough one. I can't wait to get into it. It's gonna be rough, yeah.
And Brian, how you doing, man?
A little under the weather. I should be at work right now, but called out sick. So, of course, priorities. So, hopefully no one is watching this.
Well, yes, we are here to do some Bad Batch discussion as episode 15. Can you not right now?
Baby Ray.
Yeah, so guys, let's just get into this, because this is an episode that it's kind of been teased and things have been in that direction, if you will, for the last couple weeks. And we're finally getting that moment where the crew is headed back to their home. We are seeing the remnants of the Empire leave Kamino. We are seeing what happens to Kamino. And let's just dive into it. What does everyone think about this episode overall? Before we get into specifics, Gio, I'll go right back to you, man. Just initial impression, reaction, sentence or two. What's kind of the thing that comes to mind?
One of the best episodes of The Bad Batch. There was a real sense of urgency, sense of stakes. For me, this is the darkest as far as tone goes since like the early episodes. And heavy nostalgia with that Attack of the Clones music. I don't know if anybody else heard it.
Absolutely. There was all kinds of music in this episode from all over Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brian?
This is the first one since the very first episode where it 100% fully had my attention. Like, nothing, like, I didn't pick up my phone once, didn't look at my phone once, like, fully was just, like, into it. And last time I can remember being like, no, well, actually, no, last episode, I was just like, no, when it ended. Like, I was just like, dang, they are really putting this into high gear at the end, making sure you leave with something special and want more.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and I think from what I believe anyway on this panel, I'm pretty sure I'm the one who's been the most consistent as far as liking most of the stuff that's happened this season. There hasn't really been an episode that I've like really disliked, just because I don't know if it was expectations or whatever. But I come in here every week and I'm like, oh, I really enjoyed that episode. And I kind of find the positives for everything. This is one of the episodes that is like the best, though. There's 3 episodes that stand out. It's the premiere, which it is Rescue on Ryloth, excuse me, and then it's this one. These are the 3 that really stand out, and then you can throw last week's in there as well as like a 4th, but it definitely is the 4th out of the 4. This episode is it's so brilliant from start to finish. Like, the second it starts, the intensity level, like, you can just feel it. Like, it's just sitting there, just growing and growing and growing the whole episode until it kind of comes to this like big halt towards the end of the episode. And there's so many things that we can talk about, but let's just get to it. So the episode starts with Hunter and Crosshair. They're headed to Kamino. They have that little conversation about Kamino and going back and everything like that. And then we jump back to the team, and they're fixing the ship, and they learn that Hunter's comms come back online, and they pretty much hatch a plan to get back into Kamino. And we talked about it last week, Brian and I did. It's led by Omega. Omega is leading the team in. She's the most familiar with all the facilities, with the kinds of ins and outs and everything. And she takes them to essentially what is a hidden landing platform that takes them through a hidden tube, which is so badass. That goes through the water up to Nalase's workshop, scientific center, where Omega was born, where the Bad Batch was operated on. And that's how they sneak their way into Kamino. Before we get into anything crazy that happens after this, what did you guys think about this? Kind of Omega taking the lead, helping Tech and Wrecker and Echo get into Kamino, being that the whole planet was blocked off from the Empire.
I mean, for me, I think I said it last week that I wouldn't be surprised that if this happened, that she would take the lead, fill that void with Hunter. I mean, they went onto her home territory. Like, I mean, into theirs too, but like she lived there forever, like since she was created, and she hasn't left until now. So it would make sense for someone like her to take control of the situation. And that I loved that little like underwater tube system that had. It's kind of left. They showed like a bunch of them, so I'm kind of like sitting there like, ooh, where did those other ones go to? Like, is there more? But I mean, clearly we'll never know. But
Yeah, I agree with Brian, and I can appreciate how natural it felt to have a child take over. They didn't do it just because it's a kids show, and she's a kid. Something that kids can root for. It made sense because she knows Kamino, especially all the hidden places. There's a scene that's coming up that we'll talk about as well. So I can appreciate that, and I don't know. I've never seen the underwater tube system or anything underwater in regards to Kamino before, so I appreciated that we're getting to see a little bit more before what happens at the end of the episode. So yeah, it's those little things, man, for me. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that it's just the creativity behind like the technology that the Kaminoans had, right? And we know this about the Kaminoans. We've learned this throughout Star Wars history that they keep a lot of secrets. They're a very, very secretive species, and that also comes with individuals within their ranks, like Nala say. Not that the tube was hers, but she has this, office essentially that is kept off the books and away from a lot of places. Like Tech said, it's off the blueprints. It's not seen by anybody, which is why the Empire had never seen it or, got any recognition of that it was there. I will say, Gio, to your point, and you won't know this because you haven't been able to finish the Clone Wars. We did see an underwater tube system on oh my god, why am I forgetting the Mon Calamari? We did see it on Mon Calamari in the Clone Wars. There was an arc where we spent 3 episodes there. A very different tube system, though. Very, very different. And I know a lot of people online were pointing this out. The tube system here looked like a combination of that and Jurassic World with the bubble. So remember they did the dinosaur tour and they were inside that clear bubble. Clearly a little inspiration from that movie with the system they had, which was very cool. But yeah, no, I also enjoyed it particularly because of the Omega stuff. We've seen throughout the season that her character, she hasn't gone through like a ton of development as far as the reveals and what we're kind of learning about her. But the one thing that we do know is that the team trusts her. They trust her just as much as they trust the others. She is without a doubt one of them. She's not just one of them, but still like they override her because she's a kid. She is one of them. And so the fact that Tech Echo, who Echo is by far the most experienced out of all of them, and then Wrecker being like, hey, like let's take her lead on this one, and she just wobbles her way in, and they do what they're supposed to do. They find a way in. Obviously, it doesn't turn out great here in a second because of a decision that they decide to make. But Omega is proving to be a very, very smart character, a very intelligent character, someone, and I think we've talked about it here too, that she has those leader attributes, but also she seems like she's very technical when it comes to planning. And that's a Hunter attribute, right? That's what Hunter does best, and she's growing into this person that kind of puts the plans together. And I'm interested to see what happens, not just in the next episode, but in the future, because I have no doubt that she'll be a huge part of season 2 because it was officially announced.
I mean, for me, I mean, it wasn't a shocker. I think everyone that has been watching was like expecting it. I think it would have been more shocking if they didn't renew it. So, yeah, I'm curious to see where they go after this with it. So, but
let's get into it, guys, because this is where the good stuff starts to happen. So once they get into Kamino, we see that Crosshair has some plans for Hunter. He takes him in to the training room that we saw in the very first episode, and in multiple episodes of the Clone Wars as well on Kamino. But also, Echo, Tech, and Wrecker find their way in there as well, and they are, of course, surrounded because they basically laid a trap for them. It's Crosshair and his groupies, if you will. And they are trapped. They are surrounded. Make them lay down their weapons. They have some good conversation back and forth. And the dialogue here was absolutely bonkers. And
it's so funny to me thinking that it's just one person talking to another person. Or the same person.
It is
like him talking to himself.
Yeah, D. Bradley Baker. Yeah. He's literally just going back and forth in voices, but yeah,
because it's so good. Like it sounds like you're having like this like mean conversation with like someone you care about. In reality, it's just this one guy talking back and forth to himself in different voices.
Yeah. So before, and I know Gio, you alluded to it, the moment that Omega kind of steps in and makes things go a little crazy, we get some dialogue between Crosshairs and Hunter about joining the Empire. About you left me behind. I was one of you. You didn't see me as one of you, etc., etc. What did you think about this dialogue between these two characters and kind of letting all of the emotion out, if you will, that Crosshair did, and Hunter kind of being the wall that he was spitting on?
Yeah, I thought it didn't disappoint because the whole time this is what it's been building towards. They had their little run-ins, their little encounters, but you may have predicted that it would get to a point to where if not the whole Bad Batch getting captured, at least Hunter, it was the leader against to put it in Pirates of the Caribbean terms, like the first mate, Crosshair. He always had his own way of leading the group and whatnot, and his own opinions about it. He's very opinionated, clearly. So I thought the exchange between Crosshair and Hunter did not disappoint. There was a line that stood out where Crosshair told Hunter, "You were never loyal to me. I'm going to give you something you never gave me, a chance." And the look on Hunter's face was like, he ain't lying. He's kind of right. At least that's what I got out of it. So it did not disappoint whatsoever.
Oh no, Jake Freeze. Well, oh no, okay, you did for a second.
I was waiting for you to say something.
He was thinking very deeply about it.
Yeah, that line was a gut punch. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh, damn! Like he gut punched you right there. Like he's not lying. And I out loud went, oh, when that happened. Like I was just like, ow. Because he's not wrong. He's not wrong. But at the same time, like Hunter didn't say anything back to it either, if you notice, really. He was kind of just like, all right, no, I guess. Right, so I kind of was sitting there like, ooh, this is where they're gonna get into like a screaming match, but he just kind of was like, yeah, I guess. And then we got into a little nice little battle. I think the thing that made me laugh the most is like, well, at this point we should just know, and it was just like, we'll catch him by surprise by coming up through the middle, and then literally like they're all just sitting there like waiting for them to come through the middle, and I'm just like, yeah, every time they think they've caught them off surprise, they've literally been caught not off surprise.
With the Crosshair,
So,
man, he knows their moves.
Yeah,
He knows
exactly.
their strategy, their tactics.
I mean, he knew he set up a trap knowing they'd know it's a trap, yet still somehow find a way to trap them. So, yeah, just the dialogue in this was just one of the best parts, honestly. Because, I mean, these people... Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the dialogue and the combination of the dialogue and the combination of the music is what made it so crazy. Kevin Heiner,
the music never
out.
seemed to stop in the background.
So, well, and the big thing here is that, and if you go back and watch, and I don't know if it's been throughout the season, but Crosshair's specific theme is like on fire in this episode. And his theme is super intense. It's like in your face, right? Speakers right next to your ear type of status. And then you throw in the type of dialogue that they're writing for these characters, just literally. And you know what's funny about it is half the time Crosshair was just under a helmet. He was talking, and you're still feeling this power come through these words as he's talking to Hunter before the action starts, and then before this big moment starts a little bit later on. But it's that music. This episode highlighted music and character development so well.
Yeah.
And there was only one scene of action, and it was an incredible scene of action. Like the stuff was crazy, but the dialogue and the music is what made this episode so strong. And so I think that that's some of the best stuff that Star Wars does, and to be able to highlight it on something, and specifically a character who's under a helmet most of the time, that's great. And just know, also, I see it in the chat. I know that I'm a little fuzzy. It happens. My sister is here working from home. She works from home, so there's double internet going right now. But I'm still here. It happens. We're moving on. But yes, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think the music clearly it clearly tried to like make you feel the emotion of it more. Hi, Brian. From Brian.
Yeah. No.
No. That was it. I was just saying the music definitely tried to make you feel more invested into it. Like, oh.
And I'm going to touch on that again. Look, it's part nostalgia, like, because it's like it's not just the Bad Batch and Omega returning home. It's us as audience viewers returning to a place that was such a big part of Star Wars lore, and the music very specifically is chosen because Dave Filoni knows that the audience knows what's gonna come, what's gonna happen. So I thought it just all worked so well. I don't want it to get overlooked. The music was beautiful in this one, in this episode. So
I don't know if it'll ever happen because they haven't done it for either Rebels or Clone Wars. I would love to have this on vinyl. I would love to have this series on vinyl. I love the Bad Batch music. Obviously, the Clone Wars Season 7 stuff is brilliant as well. But I just can't wait to be able to download it too because it's bonkers good. Bonkers good.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the good stuff because this is where everything kind of got kicked up a notch, right? So after the moment between Hunter and Crosshair, everything breaks out in battle. Crosshair tries to prove himself to Hunter and the team, being like, here's the trust I'll show you. Shoots the rest of his team. They're all out. And then Omega, without knowing what's happening upstairs, unleashes the battle droids, the training droids on the team. And we see the crew once again, just like episode 1, go through training once again and fight these droids with full fire. And what a glorious sequence it is of these characters fighting it out together. One last time. That's the big thing here. One last time, the 5 of them fighting together. We saw it in the first episode, and we saw it in the 15th episode. And it was kind of like the last hurrah for these 5 characters together on battlefield on the same side.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very well done one. All in as well with like the whole Hunter and Crosshair thing in between the battle, like the looks and the shooting and helping each other, but also glaring at each other. And it was just a well done sequence. What do we think about this? The one kind of big battle sequence we got in this episode.
I wanted to see Omega murk some more people. They
We got
only
to see her once. Yeah,
I know one time, and I was like, no, I want to see a couple more of those. Like that weapon is dope. Like I really like that weapon, and she just did it once, and I was like, no, I want to at least see her like bullets or whatever you want to call them in the background, even if they're not hitting. This is a really good fight scene. Every time I see these droids, I'm like, oh, like it's like the precursor droids to the Mandalorian
the Dark
one.
Troopers. The
Dark Troopers.
They look exactly like the Dark Troopers.
Yeah, they're like the Mark One of the Dark Trooper. But yeah, it's funny because they kept looking at each other like almost like looking like they were waiting for someone to shoot the other one in the back while they weren't looking.
100%.
But I mean, it was a great action scene. And I just wish Omega would have murked some more people from her tower.
Yeah,
a little bit more. That one that she did, though, it was like, oh,
I have to go back and watch, but I'm pretty sure she shot through 2 of them.
Yeah, I think she did.
Okay.
But it was that little weapon is pretty powerful, and she's got a freaking aim. So it's kind of funny that she was kind of like being the crosshair in that situation from the tower, whatever you want to call it, tower.
That's what she can do with that thing, man.
So yeah, it was a good little fight scene, seeing them all. I mean, we haven't seen it since the first episode. But yeah.
Gio?
Yeah, I partially agree with you, Brian. I don't know. I really enjoyed seeing the Bad Batch work together again and fight. It brought me back to The Last Jedi when Rey and Kylo took on that room full of...
it was 100% a throne room scene.
Yeah, a throne room scene.
It was 100% a throne room.
That's a good point.
Goes bow, and then like all of a sudden they are surrounded by like dozens of droids, and it's just like, yes, cool. Come on, guys, we can all be friends, right? No, okay,
no.
Right. Damn.
I thought it was really cool. Just like and obviously I love seeing Tech and Echo and Wrecker fight. Like that's always a good thing. But in this moment specifically, I love that it focused on Hunter and what Crosshair was doing. Mm-hmm. And then like Crosshair would shoot one that Hunter was fighting, and that they would glare at each other, and there was still that bad blood. If you know that they were helping each other, very similar to what was, and you mentioned it, very similar with what happened with Rey and Kylo in The Last Jedi. Even though that didn't happen until the end of the scene, they still had bad blood. Obviously, like they split the saber, they fought it out, etc., etc. And so it was a kind of cool callback, but also something new. And I do want to say, because it's coming up next, this is, I know someone in the chat, I think Star Drew said in the chat that it's hearsay. This is 1,000% the last time you'll see them fight together. 1,000%.
No,
I
don't know, man.
Look, let's get to it. Crosshair is 100% Empire. 100% Empire. I called it. I called it. His chip is gone.
You did call it chip is gone. I don't know if he's 100% Empire.
His decisions are completely his decisions. He wants full Empire. He's all on board Empire, even though they took him at the end of the episode. He's pure Empire. I think the dude needs to stay that way. Because if you make that kind of decision towards the end of this season, specifically now, and I know there's one episode left, you need to keep him 100% Empire. You have to.
I don't know.
Don't give me this redemption crap, man.
I think Gio and I might be on the same page for something. Gio, you can go ahead.
Here's the thing. Crosshair wasn't conscious when the Empire decided to kill or blow up Kamino, knowing Crosshair was still in there. So how is he going to react to that when he wakes up and he says, when Hunter and the crew says, yeah, we saved your ass. Guess what? The Empire was going to destroy all of us. They were going to take us down with Kamino. So I don't know. I still think there's a little bit of a chance. The door's not completely shut. The door is shut. It's not bolted and locked. So
Yeah, with
I
Star
think it's such a great idea to make him the bad guy, like their bad guy. One of
Star
their
Wars
own is their bad guy.
Star Wars always has that small little bit of redemption in everything.
Well, I'm tired of it.
I know you are.
I'm
You've been
tired of
saying
it.
this. You've been saying it for years. And the fact that the Empire did the exact same thing that the Bad Batch technically did to him in the beginning is just leave him. And I think that might have been a teensy bit of foreshadowing in the aspect of like them making a point of it. The Empire literally just did the same exact thing. Do I think it'll happen immediately? Like this next episode, like he's just gonna go, okay, I'm back to you guys. No, but let's put it this way. I went from like 95% like he's evil, he's gonna be staying evil, to I dropped down to like 75%. He's evil, staying evil.
Hunter has not given up. He literally did what Crosshair threw in his face
Right.
10 minutes ago. He said, Crosshair said, I'm giving you something you haven't given me, a chance. Well, by saving Crosshair, Hunter is giving Crosshair a chance. So
yeah,
I hate it.
I know. Jake has been on this like
Just
F redemption path for like years, since before Kylo. He's been like, no more redemption for characters.
I don't like it.
I know. I feel like even just giving you the thought of it is making you upset.
It makes me frustrated. And also, this has been pointed out a lot, and I've had some conversations with people like with this as well. It goes one of two ways in my head. If he is in fact
redeemed,
I redempted that. I was like, that didn't make sense.
I thought I was about to go redempt.
It didn't make sense in my head, but okay. Yeah. So if Crosshair is in fact redeemed, if he does join the batch again, it goes one of two ways. Either he dies or Hunter dies. I don't think both of them can stay. And that effing hurts. I swear to God. I swear to God, if Hunter dies, I'll riot. I'll post a picture out in front of my house of me rioting with a flag saying justice for Hunter.
So if you're saying that, are you saying that like Crosshair's going to join the team again and then Hunter's going to die and then stay on the team?
I think it's because Hunter's the leader, right?
Because that would be wild.
Hunter's the guy, okay? He is the one who is in charge of everybody. He wants to put the team back together. He puts everybody on their back, protects Omega, etc. If he can get through to Crosshair and he believes in Crosshair, he believes in the team again, he believes in him, there's a chance that I think he'll sacrifice himself to save Crosshair and put that team, and it will freaking murder me.
Well, you are the one that either wants death or no redemption. You've always been like that. Either die a bad guy, or
that's how it works.
All right, so that's your option right now. Look
at Kylo and Ben. Ben was redeemed. Terrible choice, but he died.
Spoiler alert.
Vader was redeemed. He died. Like
maybe Crosshair is going to become a Force ghost at the end of this.
It's one way. It works one way. I'm hoping, and this is a terrible way to say this. It's a really bad way of saying this. But I like the character of Hunter more. I'm hoping that Crosshair turns and he sacrifices himself for the team.
If I had to put money down on it, I'd go.
That makes the most sense. That makes the most sense. But I want to see him be the bad guy. I think it's such a great idea. Plus, one, he's a great villain. He is a great villain.
Jake wants bad. Jake is very get your picket sign. Make bad guys stay bad guys.
Yeah, like look, and Crosshair is a great bad guy. He is he's formidable. He's tactical. He's one of them. We saw in this episode how that can go against what the batch is all about and their decisions. But also, I think that the character has a lot to go off of as far as like growth in the Star Wars galaxy if he was part of the Empire. And we've talked about it. I wanted to see him be the first Death Trooper. Like, I wanted to see him like be the only clone that was left in the Empire. Right now, he's the only clone left in the Empire. That's what I wanted to see. And
Yeah,
so,
you just reminded me. I'm also very curious where they said they spread them out into the unknown.
yeah, because I
parts.
did want to see the clone uprising, but it doesn't seem like that's actually going to happen. But yeah, it is an interesting question. I don't know if we'll ever see it, but I just, yeah, it's,
Jake is so anti-redemption.
I'm anti-redemption with certain characters. I'm anti-redemption with certain
I think it's any time that there's ever been a possibility in Star Wars, you've been against it.
Well, okay, Star Wars, yes, because redemption in Star Wars sucks.
I mean, I stand with you with the Kylo Ren thing, but that's a different conversation. I don't know. It's just this episode could have ended a certain way where it's like, boom, you have your answer, but it didn't. Like the fact that Hunter still saved him, used non-lethal force to, take him down, and I mean, it could very well go either way. Hunter dies or Crosshair sacrifices. It just, trust Dave Filoni, I guess.
No, I don't want to trust Dave Filoni right now.
I hope George
that. All I can say is I got the chip right, and I'm happy.
I know. I literally texted him once I watched it and went, "You're right."
So this morning, we went and saw the Suicide Squad last night. So I wasn't able to stay up and watch it last night. There was no chance I was able to stay up and watch it last night. So I watched it once I got to work this morning because I early rise for work. And luckily on Fridays I'm in my office. I'm in the office by myself. And when I heard him say that, I literally jumped out of my chair. I was like, "Yes, yes, I called it. Yes."
I know. When I was watching, I went, "God dang it!" Like I just saw in my head him going, "I knew it, I called it."
And they never said how, but I have a feeling it happened exactly how I said so when he got his head blown up, and they operated on it and they took his chip out.
The burn marks like literally right where
because Hunter looked at his burn marks, which is why I'm saying that. So, yeah.
No, boo boo.
But yeah, so I mean, look, that's kind of like the gist. I mean, okay, we can talk about it because it was the finale episode. So after they grab Crosshair, Gio mentioned it. Hunter stuns him. He tells Wrecker, "Hey, pick up Crosshair. He's coming with us. So we're gonna escape with Kamino." They have AZ with them. Awesome. Make AZ their droid. I love it. I would love to see it happen. But on their way out, obviously, we see that Rampart tells the destroyers, fire upon Kamino. And they destroy the lab. They destroy everything that's there. They leave no trace behind. And the episode ends with the destroyers firing upon Kamino. And so we don't actually see them get off, which will probably be the opening of the next episode, as it will be the finale. But what do we think about this? Because we've theorized and talked about this, that past this point, we've never heard of Kamino. We've never seen a Kaminoan. Any kind of signature was Pershing in The Mandalorian Season 1. But it seems like they're officially wiped off the map via Rampart, Tarkin, and the Empire. Gio, why don't you kick us? Start us off.
Yeah, I wonder how Crosshair is going to feel about that too. Hey, guess what? The Empire, they destroyed your home. They didn't care. So, but not only did they destroy Kamino, whoever directed this episode decided, you know what? Let's put up these shots of empty halls, empty messes,
yes,
empty bunkers. And I'm just like, what are you doing right now? Don't show me this. I don't want to see this.
Yes.
But man, it's just.
It was very ominous. It was very, and they also showed that there were no babies left in there. They're like, okay, just make sure there's no kids left in this building.
That too, but like I said, man, it's nostalgia. Like we grew up on the freaking prequels, Kamino.
Yep.
We were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old watching Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett. And it's like that place is no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's like literally closing the door on a part of your childhood that is Star Wars.
Yep.
So it was
You
very
nailed it
emotional.
on the head.
It was very
Yep.
emotional. It
You-
was like it wasn't exactly Order 66, but it's up there. It's up there. So well done.
Yeah, I agree. Gio nailed it. For me, it was almost like a small, teensy bit of my childhood getting destroyed. Like, I was just like, oh, man, I grew up.
Meanwhile, Dave Filoni's sitting back there.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been wondering. We've all been asking. And we finally got the answers. And it was as heartbreaking as we imagined. Or I guess didn't imagine. Because, like, that was a big deal for episode 2. That was kind of like the whole freaking plot point. Like, one of the biggest parts of the whole movie. And they literally just destroyed it. They destroyed something from a movie that for us at that age was a big thing. So it was kind of a gut punch seeing like Gio said, the halls destroyed, the facilities, their rooms, just like this empty place that we, for whatever age you were, grew up with. And now they were just blasting it to pieces. It was rough. You were just like, oh, like you knew this was probably coming, but it was still a punch in the gut that like knocked the wind out of you a little bit. But
it's like a diehard Superman fan watching Krypton blow up for the first time. It's like, oh man.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was
not that.
Yeah,
but still.
It was sad. It like for this inanimate place, but you still kind of have like a little piece of growing up with it, because for us, I remember sitting in the movie theater seeing this place, like he said, the battle between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett, like, and they just blow it to pieces and just they show it sinking into the water. Like, oh, it was rough. Expected, but it's still rough.
Yeah.
Necessary.
Jake's like, burn it to the ground.
No, that's not true. That's not true. No, you guys are 100% right, and it's not something I actually thought of today. I was more focused on the crosshair stuff, if I'm being honest. But I 100% agree with you. I think that for us specifically, it kind of hits a little harder because the prequels were our Star Wars. We lived at a young age where they came out, and it was like those who watched the originals back in the day, and kids who watch the sequels now.
Yeah.
But I go to like the question being right that we hadn't seen or heard of anything Kaminoan past episode 2 until the Bad Batch, right? We hadn't seen them, we hadn't heard from them, anything. And so I was just looking for questions to be answered, and we got that answer. The Empire put it into the ocean. They sank it. They destroyed all evidence. Nothing of cloning, no research, nothing. They took all the clones off world and reassigned them, whatever that means. And then they took the Kaminoans that they want, a la Nala Se, and used them as part of their research team for cloning in the Empire, which means that for however long they live or however long she was there, Nala Se was in the background somewhere with cloning, which means she was probably working hand in hand with Palpatine. Because Palpatine, for what we know, is the only person in the Empire outside of, was Gideon part of cloning? Was he part of cloning? That facility on Navarro? No, that wasn't him, right? In Mando? I don't think that was because remember the tubes in Mandalorian in season 2? He wasn't there, right?
He might have a small bit, but I would say the main people would be Tarkin and Palpatine, probably.
So for sure, like guaranteed 110% we know of is that Tarkin and Palpatine were involved with it. And that means that Nala Se was probably working hand in hand with them, which is crazy to think about, knowing that a year ago, when we were all about Star Wars cloning with Rise of Skywalker and all this stuff, Nala Se was never in the conversation. The reason Rey exists is because of Nala Se.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy to think about. And that's what this stuff is doing. It's filling in the gaps. It's answering questions. And that's
creating new
Dave
ones.
Filoni. It's all again Dave Filoni.
The man knows what he wants to tell. Like, there's never been a doubt about that. He knows you have questions. He wants to answer them, but he's going to take you on a ride to get to that answer. It's just kind of like he's slowly weaving the missing parts while still kind of creating new ones. Because, I mean, like, there's definitely stuff from this that could potentially create new stuff in the live action. Like, we don't know how long Kaminoans live. We could see her pop up super old, like maybe in Mandalorian. Like, who knows?
Well,
I mean,
and it's not even that long. It's long in our years, but for them, it might not even be that long.
yeah.
From like this point until then, it's like 20 plus another about 35. So it's only about a 55, 60 year addition. But in their species, that could be like 10 years or 13, like 21 years or something, you know? Like, it's still not out of the realm of possibility. You're right.
Yeah. And we've never seen a live action Kaminoan outside of episode 2. And if she's the last of her species, that'd be sad, seeing like the last of her species die off in live action or something.
Well, her and Boba, right?
Well, I'm talking about actual Kaminoan, like the long neck people. Like, she might literally be the last one.
And I know it's very hard to talk or say right now and even to think about, but there is also that possibility that someone like Omega could pop up somewhere else. We've seen anime characters pop up, and if
she's for sure coming to live action.
I'm not going to say for sure. I'm not going to.
You don't think so?
I'm giving it a high percentage, but I'm not going to say for sure. For sure is like that's like a guarantee statement. And I'm not going to guarantee that right now because I haven't seen Bad Batch season 2 yet. I don't know what's going to happen in that show or that season. But I will say if Omega shows up, I kind of feel like Nala Se has got to show up as well. I feel like they kind of almost have to come hand in hand. Depending on what happens in season 2, obviously. And we have a full year plus to kind of see what happens with that. So,
oh no, this next episode is going to be wild.
Not to mention, it's going to be wild. Yeah,
Brian I think it was Brian that said earlier that line that she said she saw them, being created. I was like, oh, like,
well, because her age, their age, they rapid age.
Yeah, I know, but just like the thought of like she's kind of older than them in a way, like it was something that I was like, oh, that's a nice little interesting twist. I don't know. As far as her showing up in the future, to me, it's like either she's gonna be dead or she's gonna show up.
Yeah,
like, and killing a kid is pretty dark. So,
agreed.
Would Star Wars go there? Yes. Would Filoni go there? Yes. Is it dark? You're dang right. But I'm not going to put it out of the possibility that she might show up.
People would freak out. Then let the fan. Oh, goodness.
Hi, Bear.
Let the fan casting unite. So whoever plays Omega, older Omega. Okay, you need off.
I'm just going to chill right here.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay,
We're almost done. We're almost done. All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts on today's episode, Return to Kamino, and then maybe even a little excitement for next week? Just a quick sum up before we head out.
Mm-hmm.
If I would stand, if I could, but my leg is kind of dead right now. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens next. This is gonna be crazy, and the fact that we have our answer, there will be a season 2. Man, it makes me think maybe we might not get the completely wrapped story that we may want. You know, I could easily see it going that route, but I want to know what happens when Crosshair becomes conscious and, you know, is told, hey, they tried killing you, dog, and we saved you. So there you go. And see how that story unfolds.
Or does he wake up on the way out of Kamino and he sees that the Empire is firing upon them?
Yeah.
He could wake up and think that they destroyed it.
Yeah, there's definitely possibilities. Because how long does a stun gun actually last?
As long as conveniently needed.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go. Yeah.
That's very true. It's like conscious tells you, okay, Time for the Sun Gun to wake up now.
Yep, exactly. I'm just excited to see. Oh, finish what you were saying.
Say, poor Omega. We'll see. Like, her home is destroyed and everything. It's just, for a child, that has to be pretty traumatic, you know? Like Leia seeing her home planet destroyed, except
Trivia, what's her home planet?
Alderaan.
Ah.
It took me a while. That's why I said her home planet.
That's why he did it. He sensed doubt in you.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. But go ahead, Brian. I'm done.
No, I'm excited for. I feel like out of the three of us liked this show the least.
Yep.
It is the ending of this is gonna get me to watch season 2 because like there were days when I was definitely like I don't feel like watching it, like, but like this ending is like, all right, like where are we going? This could be interesting. Redemption for Crosshairs, and so no, I'm kidding. But
I'm gonna make a video on why Crosshair shouldn't be redeemed.
That's fine. Next, Whiskey Jedi. Why characters in Star Wars shouldn't be redeemed.
It's a good topic. Great topic, actually.
You're welcome. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how this ends. If they leave us on a massive cliffhanger, which they might, and that's gonna
they 100% will.
I have a feeling they are going to leave a master cliffhanger.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's going to be like there's been cliffhangers where you're just like, oh man, but I have a feeling this one's going to be like, no.
It's going to be like Rebels season. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah. So
Rebels
Gio, finish Rebels, damn it.
Dude, it's a long journey, bro.
Stop your DC life for a second and watch some Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah, I'm gonna start watching
Titans
Titans.
soon.
I'm gonna watch Titans. Let's see.
Titans in a week. Catch up. Come on. Catch up. We can do a DC show.
You just said hurry up with Rebels.
Well, hurry through both of them. Do it both.
Put them both on at the same time.
Yeah, watch them both all at once.
One eye.
Yeah, cross-eye it.
Yeah.
Crosshair it. All right, everybody. That's gonna wrap up the Fandalorian Club today. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, again, we've been here every Friday for the last 15 weeks, 14 weeks technically, because the first one was an hour long, and it kind of acted as the first two. But we'll be back here next Friday for the finale. We'll be discussing it at length, and then probably, hopefully, jumping into some kind of season recap or something. Because I know Jacob wants to talk about the show as well, but his work got into his schedule a little bit towards the halfway point of the season, and we definitely want to get his opinion on it as well. So you'll probably see a season recap leading into season 2 and everything. And if there's a cliffhanger, it's going to need to be discussed anyway. So as my dog rips apart a cardboard box. So that is great. We'll wrap up today. Before we get out of here, I'll let the gentleman tell them where you can find them online. Gio, kick us off, man.
You can find me on Twitter at Grey Goose Jedi right there. I'm still working on a new name. We'll see when that day comes. But Fandom United, my separate YouTube channel. Check me out on there. And Apocalypse Now Tuesdays, and Bad Batch at least one more Friday for the near future. So,
and possibly this as well. Next week, What If is actually.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh yeah.
Brian, what about you?
Biavalcino on Twitter and Certain Point of View if you're into the Schmodown and movie trivia. And yeah.
Yeah, at Qui-Gon Jake, 2 N's, because someone else took it before I did. Make sure you find all of us here on Apocalypse Movies multiple times a week. As we mentioned, Fandalorian Club is on Fridays. Our Marvel review show for all of the series is on Wednesday evenings. And we will be doing something for What If. And so we'll be back here on Wednesdays for that show. And then our main show is every Tuesday, Apocalypse Now, 7 o'clock Pacific. This Tuesday, we'll be doing a full episode dedicated to the Suicide Squad. We'll be reviewing spoiler heavy the Suicide Squad. That movie has a lot to unpack, and we'll be doing it all on Tuesday on Apocalypse Now. And yeah, so check us all out. It's all in the description. Again, to everybody who's been watching, all of you who've been commenting, Brian, Maddie, Star Drew, We see you all. Thank you guys so much. And hope you guys have a great weekend. And we'll catch you guys right back here next week on the Fandalorian Club. Bye, guys.